Hello, my name is David Baker. If you're watching this video, then you have been invited to be a part of Inner Circle by one of our coaches. Congratulations. That is exciting because most people do not get that. You can see the numbers of people we work with, and it is a very small percentage that ever interview, and even a smaller percentage of people that are invited in. So you've been invited in, and I assume that you have prayed and you feel like that this is what God wants you to do. The only issue now is finances. Now, to God, finances is no big deal. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, the wealth of every mind. They pave the streets with gold in heaven. So to God, it's no big deal. Now, to us, sometimes it is. So we need to be able to get the money to be a part. By the way, that was my problem also. When I joined Kingdom Builders Academy 5.5 years ago, the tuition was more than what most people are paying now, and it was still the best investment that I ever made, but I didn't have the money. I have 11 children. We had just been through some bad financial problems. I just got laid off from my job in January. I'm a pastor, but I was a chaplain at a health company, and so I got laid off from the chaplain job. I had one small stream of income that would not pay our bills. I had no idea how I was going to pay my mortgage the next month, but I knew God wanted me to do this. So what do you do? Well, when we have a problem, where do we go? As Christians, we go to the Bible. The Bible has the answer to every one of life's problems. I believe that. So 2 Kings chapter 4, you can go read it for yourself. 2 Kings chapter 4 is the story of Elisha and the widow woman. The widow woman's husband had died, left her in a lot of debt. The two sons were going to have to be slaves to pay the debt back. She needed money. She went to the man of God and said, "What do I do?" And he said, three simple things. One is, what do you have in your hands? What do you have in your house? What do you have that you can do? So the first thing to be able to come up with the finances is to look and see, what do we have? Okay, what do we have in our savings? What do we have in our checking? What do we have in a 401k? I've used money from all those things when I needed to be able to make something happen. What do you have in your hand? What do you have? By the way, most of the time we have more than what we think we have. We just don't have it converted into the correct currency. For most of the world, they didn't use what we use with cash. They had a barter system, and corn was worth something, and animals were worth something, and they would trade and barter. And so what do you have that you could convert to a currency to be able to pay? And so what do you have for that? What do you have in credit? We'll talk about that in a minute. But what do you have that you can do? Go through the garage. Go through the attic. Go through your jewelry box. What do I have in there? I don't use it. It's sentimental. It's not helping anybody. It's just sitting there. But I could use that to fund what God's called me to do. The first thing that Elisha told the widow woman is, what does she have? Now, if she had said, "I don't have anything. That's why I came to you," and she complained, what would she have gotten? Nothing. First, she had to take what she had. Now, does it seem like it's worth anything? She has a little oil. That's it. It doesn't take a lot. You know the song, "Little is much when God is in it." God plus you equals a majority. And so it doesn't take much, but God can take what you have as long as you're willing to use it. Okay, I've got $100. Got a little 401k. I've got a little credit card. I've got some stuff in the garage I could sell on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. But you have to be willing to use what you have. If you're not willing to use what you have, then why should God get involved to be able to help you? Okay, so number one, the man of God asked the widow lady, number one, what does she have? And she has some oil. It's great. Now he said, go to all of your neighbors and borrow vessels, not a few. Borrow vessels. Imagine how stupid she felt. I mean, honestly. Imagine if God told you to go to all your neighbors and say, "Hey, can I borrow some bowls?" What? Yeah, just some bowls. Empty bowls? Yeah, just empty bowls. Many as you got. I just need to borrow some empty bowls. By the way, does God ask us to do some things sometimes that are humiliating? By the way, humility is a good thing. Does God ask us to do things that will lower our pride? Absolutely. Hey, go dip in the Jordan River 7 times. That's a dirty river. I've seen it. That's not where there's better rivers. No, God will sometimes ask us to do things that we don't want to do to humble us and to let us know where the answer really came from. It came from God. So first, what do you have? Second, go borrow what you don't. Borrow what you don't. Who do you know that believes in you? Who believes in your vision, in your mission? Who have you helped? Who have you invested and poured into their life before that you could say, "Hey, here's what I'm doing. Would you like to help me?" Now, there's nothing wrong with borrowing money, okay? Some people are totally adamantly against it. You can't go to the Bible and find that, okay? I've got a conviction, I don't borrow. Okay. It's hard to have a biblical conviction if it's not in the Bible. The man of God told the woman to borrow the vessels, okay? And many other times in the Bible, God talks about that. So, who can you borrow from? Borrow means I need to borrow this, and when I get done, I'll bring it back. By the way, the people that borrow the vessels, neat little thing, something about oil, it sticks to things. So they poured the oil, you know the story. After it was over, she brought the vessels back. Guess what it would still have left in it? Some residual oil, enough to put some meal in there and make a cake from it. They got blessed by it also. They got to be a part of this miracle also. So who do you know? Sit down, make a list of the people that you know that believe in you. And just say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what God's called me to do. Would you like to help? And just wait. They'll say yes or no or maybe. And we don't care what they say. All we're looking for is to find the people that God wants us to work with. What happens when the widow lady knocked on the door and they say, I'm sorry, we don't have any empty vessels? Was she mad? Was she upset? No problem. Thank you very much. You go to the next house. Okay? And that's what we're supposed to do. So first, what do you have? Second, what can you borrow? And third, pray and ask God to pour out a blessing. Okay? They poured out the oil, and what happened? It kept pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. A little bit that we had, plus some empty vessels from some other people, and then God poured it out. And she was able to sell the oil, pay the debt, live off the rest of it. Now, I don't know your vision. I don't know what God's called you to do. But if it's in your heart and it's big, then we'll do whatever we have to do to get that. Some people just say, I just don't have the money, and they just discount it without ever going to God, without ever going to the Bible, without ever looking at what they really have. What could they use? What could they convert? We've seen people do all kinds of things to fund their vision. Now, if my vehicle transmission went out, and I've got to get to work, I'm going to find a way to fix that. Somehow, some way. I'm going to work, borrow, trade, work a deal, do something extra. I've got to get that vehicle fixed or I can't get to work. If my heating or electricity, or if my heating and air conditioner goes out in the deep summer or the heat or the cold of the winter, I've got to get that fixed. We can't freeze to death. Somehow, some way, I'm going to find the money. I'm going to get the money to do that. It's amazing how resourceful we are when it comes to our vehicle being fixed or something in our house being fixed. But when it comes to something that God's called us to do and God asks us to be resourceful, sometimes we're not as motivated to do that. If God's called you to do this and you've been given an invitation, I'm telling you, the potential on the other side is amazing. If you've heard my story, I've got multiple streams of income, multiple six-figure income now, ministry, impact worldwide, Bible college, chaplain, men's home, 4 books out, 3 more books, 2 coaching programs, new home, new vehicles. It's been a blessing in so many ways. But what would have happened if I had said, I'm sorry, I just don't have the money? And I told my coach, I'm sorry, I just don't have the money. And I didn't. Just laid off, 11 children, and no way to pay my mortgage the next month. We have to believe, God, is this what you want me to do? Yes. Then God's going to work it out. And it's by faith, which we know, without faith, it is impossible to please Him. So just wanted to give you that thought, idea. I hope it will be a help to you. I do not know probably you personally, unless I was your coach, but I believe in you, and we believe in you. We've got some great coaches, and if they saw something in you that you would make a good part of Inner Circle, then we look forward to being able to work with you. All we have to do is get with God and figure out the finances. God bless you, and we'll look forward to seeing you inside of